Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new nominating contract packs on eFootball and also the 2 new match pass players. As always, I'll put timestamps for all the different players and sections of the video in the description, so if you want to hear about a particular player, click on the description, there'll be a link to take you straight to them. So I'm going to start by looking at the 3-star players. There's only 4 3-stars, and we'll go to Japan first. And from the J-League, we'll start with Sakamoto. So this guy, we've previously had one trainable version of him. That was in one of the kind of monthly MVP packs with the Showtime players from the J-League. They added SS, AMF and left midfield to that one and made him a whole player. I got that card. It's pretty decent. It's actually a lot better than this one. But outside of that one, this is the first version we've had. And we've got a Fox in the box. He does have a face scan, although they need to update his hair because he's dyed it quite a while ago. But yeah, we've got a Fox in the box, centre forward, his only position. And yeah, he's kind of all right for a 3-star. First time shot, one touch pass, long range go, long range shooting, soul control. He's only got 5 skills, but they're pretty good ones for a centre forward. But yeah, there's nothing special about him. He's all right on the ball, attacking awareness and finishing. This is a 3-star card, but they're not brilliant. Not the quickest, although with a Fox in the box, that's not too important. But as a Fox in the box, you want a bit of an all-rounder, really. You need a kind of all-round build on him. And he doesn't really have a lot of physical strength. He's not the tallest. He's not great in the air. No aerial skills either. So it's one of these ones where if you do the J-League challenge and you really don't have many decent centre forwards, he might be useful for you. But as much as there's nothing terrible about him, there's also nothing really particularly good about him. So sure, if you really need a striker for the J-League challenge, if you like a Fox in the box as an all-rounder, he could be alright. Decent skills there, and a lot of these attributes aren't too bad, but there's just nothing that great about him. So even for a 3-star contract, not terrible, but not particularly good either. And our other 3-star from the J-League is Taiga Hata. So he's not got his headband on his face scan, but he does have a face scan. This guy is a box-to-box left midfield this time. He's normally a left-back attacking full-back. And there was a trainable version. I think it was in possibly a Japan-only pack. I don't think that pack was available, certainly to me. But it's in the database. It's a bit better than this one. And that was a left-back like he normally is. But like I said, they've made him a left midfielder now, and they made him a box-to-box. He can still play fullback, of course. He's right-footed, and he can play on both sides. He's not completely 2-footed, but he's not completely 1-footed either. He's kind of in between, so I'm not sure how comfortable he's going to be on the left. He doesn't have outside curler, so he might be better off playing on the right-hand side as a right-footer. The skills he does have, he's got interception, probably the most important one for a fullback. Pinpoint crossing as a winger is decent. Long range curler, if you do play him on the left hand side, you've got options here. Long range curler, so left midfield long range curler is going to be a good one. Right midfield pinpoint crossing is going to be a good one, and crossing obviously as an attacking fullback is going to be handy as well. Interception likewise. So he's got some decent skills there, but as with Sakamoto, how good is he? I mean, yeah, the pace is fine for a fullback or a winger. I think the pace is just fine there, but outside of that, what's he got that's particularly good? Not a lot really. He's going to get tired with that stamina. He's not got great balance. Defensively, not great. He's got interception, but these defensive attributes aren't particularly good. On the ball, yeah, the dribbling's are right, certainly for a fullback, but ball control, not brilliant. Tight possession is poor. Low pass is terrible, and he's not got any passing skills apart from pinpoint crossing. So no one-touch pass or through passing. Like low pass is poor. Lofted pass 82 with pinpoint crossing. Okay, he's got a half-decent cross on him, but again, it's not a terrible card, but even for a 3-star contract, how useful is he? For his versatility, if you're allowed to do that J-League challenge, which a lot of us aren't anymore for some reason, he could be useful. At least having him on the bench, a few positions he can fill there. But even though he's quite great, got a half decent cross, there's a few decent attributes, just like with Sakamoto. Even for a 3-star contract, it's not a great card for me, honestly. So yeah, like I say, you're desperate for more options for the J-League challenge. If you get that challenge, it might be worth picking out just for a 3-star contract. But beyond that, I don't really see a great deal of value to be had from this guy. And for our other 2 3-stars, we are heading to Turkey. And we got 2 here, and they are both centre-backs. Let's start with this guy. We got Francisco Calvo. So this guy, Calvo, first time I've had a feature version of him. He's a build-up centre-back. And what you're going to see of both these centre-backs, and I've been talking about this with a lot of Player of the Week and Player of the Month players, they seem to, with Player of the Week centre-backs and Player of the Month centre-backs as well, they don't do a lot with the defensive, sometimes even nerf them a bit, and they do the boosting mainly on the right column with speed and stamina, and that's what they've kind of done with these 2 guys. It's the same story again, really. But on the whole, it is a reasonable boost, and yeah, for a 3-star, I think this guy's actually decent. So down the middle there, obviously not amazing, but there's nothing too bad. The tackling and aggression are both hitting 90 with a maximum game plan boost. Defensive awareness and engagement, well into the 80s. Passing is fairly nice for a centre-back, and this is on a 3-star as well. Yes, he's a little bit slow, but it's not disastrously. He's not disastrously slow. I think he can get away with that. Jumping is decent, but it needs to be only 180 centimeters. That's like 5'10", 5'11". So there's your first real weakness. And then the physical contact 83 is not great. So he's not the strongest, and he's not going to be a, he's not got the greatest leap on him. But does he have aerial superiority? He does have aerial superiority. So he's not going to be terrible in the air, but with that height, yeah, he's not going to be dominant either. But on the whole, the selection of skills he's got, heading and aerial superiority, and then man marking, interception, blocker, captaincy and fighting spirit down there. We've also got acrobatic finishing and penalty specialist, so I'm guessing he's scored a couple of goals from centre-back lately, but I'm not sure how useful those are going to be. But outside of that, he does have pretty much a complete set of skills, I think. In fact, no, he doesn't. He's not got acrobatic clearance or sliding tackle. Those are the two he's missing, but he's got the most important ones in my opinion. He's got a good selection of skills there for a centre-back. Yes, he's not the quickest, and there's a slight question mark aerially and physically, but on the whole, good stamina there. Like I say, they're boosting him a bit down the right. I think for a 3-star contract, and just checking, he's got a face scan as well. There you go. Costa Rican, he's got a face scan. Yeah, slight question over the aerial and physical strength. He's not the quickest, but honestly, for a 3-star contract, if you still get to do the Turkish League Challenge, I think for a 3-star contract, this guy's good value. So for a 3-star contract, I think that's a pretty decent sense about that. And our other 3-star centre-back from Turkey, we've got Luccas Claro. This guy does not have a face scan, got a Brazilian, and whereas Calvo was a build-up, this guy's a destroyer. And to be honest, that might be the choice between these two if you're going to get one of these two centre-backs, because there's not a lot of difference really. You've got two guys who aren't the tallest. There's a bit of a question mark over their aerial ability, but really across the board, they're both looking okay. This guy's passing isn't quite as good, but his physical strength is better. That's the main difference really. Both got pretty similar stamina. I think it might be identical. Both not the quickest, but could be slower. The defense is down the middle, decent enough. They're not amazing, but for a 3-star centre-back, I think they're decent. He's got unwavering form, this guy. And if we look at the skills, again, there's a pretty decent selection, but he's missing aerial superiority. So there is a real question mark over this guy's aerial ability. He's got heading, but then the rest of his defensive skills, man mark, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, right clearance, captaincy, fighting spirit. He's really only lacking aerial superiority, to be honest. He's got a good selection of skills on the whole, but aerially, he's going to be lacking a bit. So that's the one real weakness with this guy. But again, like with the Francisco Calvo, however you say it, I think, to be honest, both these guys, obviously, if you're looking at divisions and things like that, they're not going to be much use. You're going to have much better options. But if you do get the Turkish League Challenge, or if you ever rock a Turkish League squad for any reason, I think for a 3-star contract, both these centre-backs are pretty usable, to be honest. You could do a lot worse. And that's it for the 3-stars. So, for my recommendations, that's it. From Japan, I don't think the striker Sakamoto or the kind of versatile wide man Hata, I don't think either of them are particularly great. These two, I think, for a 3-star contract are decent. Like I say, if you're looking at using, building a squad for divisions, the Unlimited Challenge or anything, or national squads, they're not brilliant. But for the Turkish League Challenge, or if you do rock a Turkish League squad, I think for a 3-star contract, whether you prefer the build-up, whether you prefer the destroyer, yes, there are one or two slight weaknesses with each of them. That's hence the reason they're only 3 stars. But for a 3-star contract, I think each of these guys could actually be pretty decent value there. I think they're pretty decent centre-backs for 3 stars. Now on to the 4 stars. Let's start in Japan again. And in Japan, we've got, how many have we got? We've got 2 4 stars in Japan. Let's start with Yamakawa. So he might be about to be a league winner for the 2nd season in a row. They're probably going to win the league this weekend. Yamakawa, we've got a build-up centre-back. And again, to be honest, one to the 4 stars now, but for a 4-star contract, I'd say he's pretty decent value. I don't think he's bad. We've had one previous version of him that was a trainable one. That was a bit better defensively. Not quite so great on the right column, but you can retrain him and make him pretty similar, to be honest. So not a lot of difference on the whole, but obviously is trainable, that previous one, if you've got it. There's another one that I'm not sure has been released because on eFootball Hub there's no, they've not put their maximum level in, so I don't know what the deal is with that, or if it's a Japan exclusive. But yeah, this is a decent version of Yamakawa. Like with the 2 3 stars, no major weaknesses. I think the jumping is the obvious one though. 76 for jumping is really not great. 6'1", not the tallest. He's not short, but he's not the tallest either. So 76 jumping, you're going to need area superiority. He does have it though. So heading and area superiority there. And then we got man mark, interception, blocker, weighted pass. So he's got some good skills there. I would like a few more. Sliding tackle, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. I think those are the 3 that I'd probably want on him. Weighted pass is a nice bonus to have. That low pass, we're going over 70 with the game plan boost. Lofted already 70s, so decent passing for a centre back. On the ball, not terrible. That ball control is going over 70 with the game plan boost, but obviously you're not going to be doing a lot of dribbling with him, or at least I hope you're not, because you're going to end up in trouble. But the defence is down the middle. Awareness, tackling, aggression, all hitting 90 with a maximum game plan boost. Engagement, that's the one slightly let down there. It's a bit on the low side, but the others are good. The pace, yes, the acceleration is a bit low, but it's not disastrously low, and that speed's hitting 80. Kicking power is decent enough for a centre back. It's just that jumping, the physical, that 84. I'd like that to be higher. But again, it's a 4-star. This is for a 4-star contract. The stamina is good at 84. He is lacking 1 or 2 skills, but he's got the most important ones. And most of his defenses are pretty strong for a 4-star. I think on the whole, again, looking at this guy for what he is, if you're still able to do the J League challenge, I think this guy for a 4-star contract is good value. I like the look of him. I'm not allowed to do the J League challenge anymore for some weird reason, but I do have a J League squad. I've got a bunch of the kind of Showtime MVP cards and stuff, and I enjoy using my J League squad sometimes. I'm going to get this guy. He's going to be an option. I do have a couple of 5-stars, and if they're on form, this guy's not getting in. But if I do need a centre back and this guy's on form, I think for a 4-star contract, he's good value. And our other 4-star from Japan is Nishikawa, still going strong, well into his 30s. So I've got a version of this guy. There's a trainable one in one of those monthly MVP packs. Pretty similar on the whole, but one thing to keep in mind, this is a trending card. This is a player of the month, so they've nerfed his jumping, of course. So when you look at the goalkeeping attributes, you could argue this one's slightly better. I would say he's a bit more solid on the whole. I've got my reflexes up to the 90 mark, but I'm not quite so high on a couple of the other ones. So on the whole, I'd say just pretty similar really to that trainable one. And it's pretty good for a 4-star contract. There was a previous player of the month version, Nishikawa. That was a long time ago, and it's not great. It's not as good as this one. But yeah, this is pretty solid for a 4-star. So the awareness is, you're going to hit 90 with your maximum game plan boost. None of the others are going to hit 90, but catching and reflex is both getting to 88. Parrying, yeah, that's probably that is the weakest one. Obviously, it's not great, but reach 86, so you're going to get to about, I think, 89 with your game plan boost. So on the whole, not amazing, but for a 4-star contract, I think pretty solid. He's not the tallest keeper, so the reach not being brilliant and not great jump, that is a slight concern, the coverage of this guy. But I think on the whole, yes, he's not amazing. There's a slight question mark over his coverage, but I think the attributes on the whole are decent enough. He's got unwavering form as well. That lofted pass as well, 72, that's decent for a goalkeeper of any level. You know, even some of the highest rated legend keepers, you see keepers like Czech, for example, he had like about 40 something for his lofted pass. It's not the most important attribute on a goalkeeper, obviously, but it's worth noting that 72 lofted pass on a goalie. So that is decent, but of course, got to keep your eye on low pass as well, equally. So low pass 53 is not great. So if you pass the ball back to this guy, I would say just use the circle button, play lofted passes no matter what, and then you should be all right. But yeah, decent distribution. He's got low punt as well, like my version has. And yes, he's not amazing, and he's not going to get in many squads for things like divisions. But for the J League Challenger, if you rock a J League squad for any reason, I think this is a solid option for a 4-star contract. I think it's decent value. And who have we got in Turkey? We've got 3 in Turkey. Let's start with Yunus Akgün. So I've seen this guy a couple of times actually this season, and he looks decent. I'm pretty sure it's him who scored a goal against Tottenham in the Europa League or the Conference League. Beautiful strike on the volley. So yeah, looks a tidy player. He's not always had left midfield before. I'm not sure if they've added that to his GP card with the update, but the previous versions I don't see that. But they've given him left midfield now. That's what he's down as. He's a creative playmaker. And what they've done with the boost primarily is the end product. They've given him better passing and finishing, which still isn't brilliant, but it's pretty bad in his GP card. But he can at least pass and shoot to some extent now. He's tidy on the ball. He's got a good pace, good balance. Attacking awareness is a bit of a letdown. That's the one real shame with this guy. I'd like the attacking awareness to be a bit higher, but outside of that, I think we're looking at another 4-star. That's pretty decent value, to be fair. He's a left footer. He can play on either wing. He can play attacking midfield, or he can play as a wide forward on the right. That playing style, creative playmaker, will be active in all of his positions. Let's have a look at his skills. What's he got skill-wise? So as a left footer, he doesn't have pinpoint crossing, so I'm not sure I'd be putting this guy on the left. I think I'd probably play him in his usual position on the right. I say his usual position. I'm pretty sure he's playing on the left in real life. But yeah, I think on the right would be best for this guy. He's got one-touch pass and through passing, but without the passing stats being better, I don't think I would ever put this guy attacking midfield. His passing is nowhere near good enough. But yeah, like I say, wide right as a left footer, I think that might be where you're going to get some joy out of this guy, because with the pace, the balance, pretty good on the ball. Yes, he's not brilliant at passing or finishing, but with long-range curler, long-range shooting, acrobatic finishing, first-time shot, I think he could be pretty decent coming off that right flank onto his left foot, to be honest. And the passing skills, yes, his passing attributes aren't high enough to probe through the middle, and you're going to still need to be careful not to ask too much of him, but those skills will help. With those shooting skills, heel trick's a nice one as well, a couple of skill moves. I think this guy is pretty tidy, to be honest. Has he got a face scan? He does have a face scan, good stuff. So yeah, I'm liking the look of this guy. I think for a 4-star, this guy is looking like he's pretty decent value. Like, as you can see, obviously he's versatile enough. He can play out the flank and through the middle, but I think with the attributes he's got, the profile he's got, he's definitely best suited to playing as an inverted winger coming off the right flank. But I would say that the one real downside, yes, is a little bit lacking with the passing and the finishing, but I don't think that's too bad. I think the one concern for me is low attacking awareness and that creative playmaker playing style. I always say this, but on a wide man, I don't like that playing style personally. It's just my personal preference, because a creative playmaker won't be too aggressive. I like my wingers to be making runs in behind the defence and into spaces. A creative playmaker will make attacking runs at times, but quite often they'll hang back and they want to be given the ball so that they can play make and pick a pass to the players up ahead of them. So it depends on what you prefer in terms of your play style for a winger, but with low attacking awareness and that playing style, for me, I feel like it could be quite frustrating. But outside of that, with the ability he's got, athletically, technically, good skill set, I think for a 4-star contract, this does look like a pretty tidy card in my opinion. And now we've got Deniz Türüç. I've probably said that wrong, but I used to sign this guy. I had him a couple of times on I think I signed him once in Master League, and I had him on PES as well. I think he was a 3-star in my club. He had a cracking left foot. And he still looks like he has a decent left foot now. This is a pretty good version of him. He's got a face scan there. He's a creative playmaker again. Quite similar, the profile to Yunus Akgün. But this guy's got, well, I mean, certainly in terms of lofted pass, he's got a bit more product. He's always had a good cross in my experience. He's got pinpoint crossing. I know that from memory. There it is. So, yeah, and a good set of skills here. So we've got long-range curler, long-range shooting, one-touch pass, through passing, weighted, pinpoint crossing, outside curler. So, yeah, with passing and shooting and crossing, he's pretty well equipped, but as with Akgün, low pass, be careful, don't ask too much of him. It's a bit of a shame that. Finishing as well, likewise, but he does have 83 lofted, good curl, good kicking power. It's just a shame he's not quicker, because if he had a bit more pace, he could be a pretty tidy winger, playing on the left foot and crosses in. And he still could be if you don't mind the slight lack of pace. It's not too dissimilar to when I was talking about Di Maria with the Champions League Player of the Week pack, although obviously Di Maria is a lot better on the whole. But yeah, it's just a question of where this guy's going to be good, because through the middle for me, low pass 77, even with one-touch pass and through passing, not happening. His passing's not good enough to play through the middle, in my opinion. I think on the left, if you can allow the slight lack of pace with some pretty decent crossing, I think that could be where you get the best value out of him. On the right-hand side, he's not, I don't think we saw, we do have outside curler. So yeah, with outside curler, with the passing and shooting skills, cutting inside, maybe some in-swinging crosses. If you're careful with the passing and shooting, could do a job from the right, but I think he's probably best used on the left, getting some crosses in. But again, the attacking awareness isn't too high, and creative playmaker, I'm not sure. I think Akgün looks like better value for me. He's got more pace, and yes, this guy's got more end product, but that's primarily just with his crossing, really. So for me, I mean, it's a decent version of Türüç. It's better. There's a previous version I've already got that was in one of those Turkish league packs. It's a trainable one, and if you train it to be, you try and match up against this one, I would say this one's slightly better on the whole. A few stats shuffled around slightly. So yeah, this is a good version of him. Compared to his GP card, he's lost a bit of acceleration actually, and a little bit of kicking power and balance. Very annoying. I don't know why they do things like that with attacking players, but it is what it is. He's had a nice boost to his physical contact actually for some reason. It's not the most important attribute on an attacking midfielder or a winger, but it is what it is, and it's a decent boost on the whole from his GP card. So yeah, he's one of these cards who, it's a question of what you look at the profile, where you're going to get the most out of him. Is his passing good enough to play through the middle? Is he quick enough to play out wide? I'm not sure many people will get great value out of him, but certainly as a left winger putting crosses in, or maybe if you do like him through the middle, he can get away with the passing as it is, and on the right hand side as well. There could be some use for you. You could get some value out of him, but I think if you unless you have a lot of 4-star contracts, Akgün for me looks like better value than this guy. So yeah, not a brilliant card this one, but it certainly could be worse. And for me personally, the fact that I've had good versions in the past, I'm pretty tempted because I have enjoyed them in the past. And the last of our 4 stars in Turkey is a creative playmaker with 73 attacking awareness who can play on the left or the right. Lots of variety here. This guy, he does have a face scan. Nice, he's from Albania. Plays for Besiktas. What have we got here? So another interesting profile, and again, it's a question of looking at his positions. Where's he going to be best? That creative playmaker playing style is going to be active all these positions except for centre midfield. He won't have an active playing style there. Would you play him with a centre midfielder though when he can't defend to save his life and he's not particularly strong physically? I personally wouldn't. Low stamina as well. Straight off the bat, there's a bunch of reasons not to play him centre mid. And he's not great on the ball as well. That's annoying. For a creative playmaker who can play either wing or through the middle, he's not great on the ball, and the attacking awareness being low as well. Again, low pass 81. Is that good enough to play as a midfielder, centre mid or attacking mid? In my opinion, no. He does have some pace, so and I'm looking at his positions. It looks like they've added left mid and right mid as well. I don't think he's normally got those. And they've also made him semi-proficient on as a right wing forward. Excellent. So if you plan to get this card and position train him, good luck, because you can't. That's completely pointless. Don't know why they've done that, but they've made him a left mid and right mid. So yeah, maybe he's best out wide. Looking at his GP card, just looking at what they've changed, they've given him more pace than normal, and they've made him better at defending. Excellent. That's what we all want from a creative playmaker, isn't it? And annoyingly, they've taken a few points away from his ball control and his low pass. So we've got a creative playmaker who's better at defending and not so good at controlling the ball or passing. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, so we've got some pace, a little bit of end product. Finishing 80 is decent before your game plan boost. Let's look at the skills. Okay, so shooting might be the strength this guy's got then. Dipping, long range shooting, acrobatic finishing, first time shot. So shooting's the main strength of this guy. He's quick and he can shoot. Good, okay. One touch pass and through passing, that will compensate for his low pass attribute being a bit low. Weighted pass and low lofted pass. He's got all the passing skills. So yeah, he's not too bad, this guy, but I think again, I still wouldn't like him through the middle. I just don't think he's good enough on the ball or got good enough low pass to play through the middle. Out wide, yes, he's got some pace, but is he good enough on the ball? In my opinion, no. I think if you're really careful with him on the ball, with the skills he's got, he's a right footer. Maybe he's on the right hand side, the left hand side, sorry, cutting inside and getting some shots away. If you're careful with him on the ball, that might be where you get the most use out of him. So it could be a decent one, to be honest, but I don't think I could upgrade anything from to anything better than decent. I don't think it's a great card for what he is as a playmaker. The fact they've nerfed his ball control and low pass, he's not as good as I would want him to be technically down the left hand side. Yes, apart from the shooting, he is good at shooting and he does have decent pace. So there's some qualities there, but on the whole, where he's lacking a few areas, I think just kind of spoils him a bit in any of his positions. So you could get some use out of him, could be decent, but not for me. So let's now head to Brazil for the last 4 stars. Who do we have in Brazil? Let's start over here. So we got Lincoln. Lincoln was playing for Fenerbahce until recently. He's now with Red Bull Bragantino in Brazil. He is a creative playmaker. It's the first feature version we've had of him. He can play down the left-hand side, but right off the bat, left back, absolutely not. He can't defend to save his life. He's not physically strong. He's not got much stamina. He's not got enough speed. Left back is out of the question for me. He doesn't have any defensive skills either. I already knew that because I had his GP card for a while. Don't know what they changed skill-wise, but as you can see, a few skill moves. Rising shot, through passing, pinpoint crossing. He looks like he's just a left winger to me, to be honest, but I'm not really sure. Again, where is he going to be best? Low pass 81, through passing. Is he going to be a good attacking midfielder? Again, for me, 81 is not high enough, but left wing, I don't know. He's not got brilliant dribbling. He's not got a great deal of speed. His lofted pass, yes, he's got pinpoint crossing, but for me personally, even with pinpoint crossing, I look for at least mid-80s, so yeah, it's another one of his cards where, yes, some decent attributes here. The ball control is good. That's hitting 90 with the game plan boost. The acceleration's all right. Balance is all right. But what's he great at? What position is he going to be really is he going to really excel in? For me, left back is an absolute no. Attacking midfield, I don't think his passing is good enough. Left wing is not brilliant at crossing. He's a left footer. I'm just not sure. Just looking at his attributes compared to his GP card, again, we've lost a bit off his ball control and passing. We can afford it off the ball control, but can we afford to lose points off passing? No, not really. That's frustrating. If that was at least mid-80s, I'd have been tempted to say this guy's a decent attacking mid, to be honest. But Yeah, again, 81 is not great for me. They have boosted, what they boosted? Okay, so they boosted his physicals, made him a bit more physically strong. They boosted his defending. His finishing actually has been boosted a bit, but it's still not brilliant. And it bounces off a bit, which is nice. But yeah, this is a really annoying one because you've got a guy who's either an attacking mid or a winger. And what they put all the points onto to boost him is defending and his physical strength, really. So where they boosted him is where it's least important because he's still useless as a left back. And where they put the points doesn't really help him in the other positions where he is actually half decent. Because if they hadn't put those points into those areas and they put the points into, you know, dribbling and giving him a bit more passing back, he might have been better than half decent in those positions. So yeah, for me, and before I forget, got a face scan, got some pretty cool hair as well, stripy hair, nice. But yeah, another one where unfortunately, you know, it's not a terrible card, but I can't say it's a great one because out of all the positions, I think left back's a flat no. Attacking midfield, I don't think he can pass well enough, and on the left wing, I just don't think he has enough to offer as a left winger to really make him a great card. So sure, you can get some value out of him, but even for a 4-star contract for me, it's not a brilliant one. And next we have Caio Paulista. Caio, not sure how to say that. We've got an attacking fullback. This guy does have a face scan, checked it earlier. So it's an interesting one. He can play left back, left midfield. He can also play right midfield as a right wing forward. He's left footed, down as a fullback. He's got decent pace, decent stamina. He's not too bad on the ball. Lofted pass 81's not too bad if he's got pinpoint crossing, which he does. Interesting. So we've got a whole lot of skill moves here. So this might be one for the dribblers, although he's not brilliant on the ball. If that dribbling was at least a few higher, then this could be a really interesting one for those who really like to dribble and do the skill moves, because double touch, flip flap, soul control for a start. He's got the ball roll double touch and a few other skill moves on top of that. Heel trick's a nice one. And then in terms of end product, crossing. That's about it, really, because his low pass is absolutely terrible and his finishing's even worse. So all he can really do in terms of end product is cross the ball, and he's not even brilliant at crossing. You know, 81's not too bad, but not got a great deal of goal and not got a great deal of kicking power either. They've actually nerfed his kicking power, taken a bunch of points off his kicking power. Outside of that, decent enough boost, nothing too major. But yeah, taking a bunch of points off his kicking power, that's annoying. Don't know why they've done that, but yeah, another one where yes, it's a 4-star contract we're looking at. We can't really look at him as though he's a 5-star because he's clearly not. And so it's a question of what positions is he good in. End product wise, all he's really got is crossing. So on the right hand side, if you were going to play him on the right and have him as an inverted winger cutting inside, would he be alright there? I mean, he's certainly got the pace and a bit of trickery in terms of the skills he's got, but he's not that great at dribbling, and you're going to have to be really careful with his passing and with his finishing. So I'm not sure how great it would be coming off the right flank. Left wing, maybe that's where he's best. I think as a left back, he doesn't have any defensive skills. He's got track back, but that's not going to cut it. He needs interception, probably man marking and blocker beyond that. And with those defensive attributes being as low as they are, for me as a left back, he's not going to cut it. I think left midfield is where this guy's going to be best. Either as an attack-minded wing back, if you play with wing backs, he could do a job there because he's got some pace and stamina. He's going to be reasonable on the ball. He's got a bit of crossing ability, so he could get up and down as a left wing back, get some crosses in. But just as an out-and-out left winger, likewise, I think he could be decent because, again, with the pace he's got, being, you know, all right on the ball and having a reasonable cross on him, those aren't the words you want to hear. You know, all right and reasonable, that's the problem. Like with some of these other 4-stars, I know they are 4-stars, but just depends how many 4-star contracts you got. If you've got a lot of 4-star contracts to burn, then sure, pick him up, give him a try. You might find he's fun on the ball. It could be a fun card, but just looking at where he's been lacking a bit, you know, the balance is poor, could do being a bit better on the ball, low pass and finishing are terrible, not much attacking awareness. Ultimately, yeah, there's some qualities with all the skill moves he's got. Could be a fun one, but I just can't say he's anything better than a half-decent card, really. And for even for a 4-star contract, I don't think he's that great, really. And our final 4-star, we've got Kauã Elias. I've probably said that wrong. So, has he got a face scan? No. Only 18, he's a youngster. I see another Player of the Month card in the database. I don't remember seeing it, but comparing him to the previous Player of the Month card, this one's slightly better on the whole. The previous one was actually better at finishing, but this one's got better dribbling and stamina. So yeah, pretty similar on the whole, but this one's slightly better, I think, apart from the finishing, really. And yeah, we've got a goal poacher who's not that quick, and his awareness and finishing aren't brilliant. So even for a 4-star contract, how great is he? I don't know. Let's have a look at his skills. Okay, so double touch, sombrero, soul control, heading, long range shooting, and first time shot. In terms of taking chances, this is a goal poacher at the end of the day. That's what really matters. He's got some of the most important ones, but yeah, I don't know. As a goal poacher who can get in the ball and dribble a bit, 83 dribbling, he's got double touch, soul control. Shame he's not got long range curler, but he's kind of all right. But again, is that what you want for a 4-star contract? Someone who's just all right? I don't know. I would like a bit more pace on him. His balance is pretty poor. The ball control would like to be a bit higher. And again, the awareness and finishing, they're not terrible, but I'd like them to be a bit higher as well. He's not great in the air, although the jumping and physical both going with 80 with the game plan boost. Heading already at 83. He does have the heading skill, so he'll be okay from crosses, to be fair to him. So, there are a few things about this guy that are decent, but again, do you want a centre forward who's just decent in a few ways? I don't know. I'm not going to say this is a terrible card, but even for a 4-star contract, yeah, it's all right. And for the Brazilian League Challenge, could be a reasonable option for you, but just to be blunt, I don't think it's a great card. It's just not particularly exciting in any way, really. So we've looked at 8 4-star cards, and I'm just going to recommend the 3 out of the 8. So from Japan, I think Nishikawa is a solid goalkeeper. I don't think he's an amazing one, but if you do ever do the J-League Challenge, you ever rock a J-League squad, I think you can certainly do a lot worse. He's a solid-looking goalkeeper and unwavering form as well, and a decent lofted pass attribute on him. And I think Yamakawa is a solid centre-back option as well. I think for a 4-star, yes, the jumping is a bit dodgy, but he's not too short, and he's got aerial superiority. I think on the whole, that's a pretty solid centre-back card for a 4-star contract. And then we've seen a bunch of attacking players, but I think Yunus Akgün for me stands out as the best of the 4-star. Those 4-star players you can play as wingers or attack midfielders and stuff. I think he'd be best on the right flank as an inverted winger. He's a left footer. As long as you're careful with his end product, I think with the pace, he's good on the ball. I think ultimately you've got a guy there who for a 4-star contract is pretty good value in my opinion. So these 3 for me are the best 3 out of all the 8 4-star cards this time around. Now let's move on to the 5 stars, and we have 3 in this Brazilian Player of the Month pack. So let's start with Jonathan Calleri. So we have a fox in the box, and he looks kind of all right, to be honest. He doesn't look too bad. He does have a face scan, and as a fox in the box, I always say you want a kind of all-rounder as a fox in the box. He's kind of got a bit of everything, but I don't know. For a 5-star, is he great value? I'm not so sure. It's the first feature version we've had of him. Compared to his GP, they've taken a few points away from balance. They keep doing that with attacking players when they're supposedly player of the week or player of the month. It's just really annoying. But he's a bit better on the ball than normal. Increases heading a bit. And they've really beefed up his low pass, which is nice. They've done it on a few strikers at the moment. But yeah, he's an alright striker. I mean, he's clearly not the quickest. He's got a great jump on him. He's about 5'11", 90 jumping. 88 heading, that's going to hit 90 with the game plan boost. Has he got aerial superiority? Yes, he does. Okay, so this guy could be decent in the air. He's not going to be amazing because he's not the tallest, but with 90 jumping, 88 heading, which is, again, is going past 90 with the game plan boost and aerial superiority and the heading skill, of course. Could be decent from crosses, this guy. Got a first time shot, the most important one touch pass. Acrobatic finishing would have been nice. But yeah, he's got some decent skills. He could be decent in the air. I think as a fox in the box, he's all right. I always say this, with a fox in the box, if you're going to be putting crosses into the box, I personally find that's the most effective playing style for me, because a fox in the box won't be constantly darting in behind the defence the way a goal poacher will. Their runs into the box are a little bit later. They kind of delay the runs into the box a bit, try and catch the defenders out. And that for me just seems to work out for getting on the end of crosses. So with that being arguably this guy's biggest strength, it marries up well with his playing style. Not the strongest physically though, but his balance is kind of okay. And they have obviously given him a nice boost on his low pass. He's got one touch pass. Shame he's not got through passing actually. He's not brilliant on the ball, so be careful when you get on the ball with him. Don't ask too much of him, but attacking awareness hitting 90 with the game plan boost. Finishing almost hitting 90. It's a shame they couldn't go one higher on the finishing. Then he could have got to 90 with the maximum game plan boost on finishing as well. But yeah, as an all-rounder, looks like he's going to be pretty tidy from crosses. If that's something that suits you, the kind of profile that works for you as a striker, could be an all-right one. Like I say, though, we're onto the 5-star contracts now. So yes, we've got a bunch of options for 5-star contracts. It just depends. Yeah, it just depends on how many 5-star contracts you got, what works for you. And it might be one of these ones where it's a question of, do you still get the Brazilian League Challenge, which a lot of us don't for some reason. If you do, if you want a striker option for that and his profile suits you, I think it could be a decent value for a 5-star contract. I think I would say much better than decent though, because we're going to see some other 5-stars and there's probably a few going to be better than this guy, but it's certainly not a bad one. Just probably depends whether you get the Brazilian League Challenge and whether his profile works for you. If it's a yes to both those questions, then potentially it could be decent value for you. And our next 5-star from Brazil is Wesley. He does not have a face scan. Young though, probably just coming through. I imagine he'll get one eventually, but knowing the way they are with the Brazilian league, it might take about 10 years. He'll probably be retired, to be honest, by the time he gets a face scan. But yeah, we've got a 5-star right back, attacking right back. He's kind of all right, but good in some areas, not so much in others. So good pace, good stamina. The tackling is good enough. Decent enough dribbling for fullback. Lofted pass is good at 85. Has he got pinpoint crossing? Yes, he does. Okay, so he's got a good cross for a fullback. Man marking interception. So not many skills there, but he's got the most important ones for a fullback. For an attacking fullback, I think we're well sorted with crossing, man marking, interception. Fighting spirit's a good one to have. Chop turn. Don't think anyone's going to really be too bothered about that. But he's got a decent selection of skills. Not a big selection, but some good ones there. But like I say, he's not so strong in some areas. The balance is a little bit low. Defensive awareness and defensive engagement both low. That's pretty concerning. Ball control 74 is not great. Tight possession 70 is horrible. Low pass 73 is pretty horrible as well. So does he have qualities? Yes, could be a decent option. If he's still got the Brazilian League challenge, yeah, he could. But the big issue is this is a 5-star contract. Again, we're on to the 5 stars now. Is he good enough for a 5-star contract when he's got a bunch of attributes that really are a bit on the weak side? For me, no. For a 5-star contract, I'm looking for a good player, not one who's good in some areas and weak in others. I want a good player who's going to do a good job for me. And for me, he's just not that great. So if it's for the Brazilian Challenge and if you've got 5-star contracts to spare, sure, he could do a good job if you're doing that Brazilian League Challenge. But outside of that, for a 5-star contract, yeah, some qualities there, a few decent skills on him, but there are a few weaknesses with certain attributes. So for a 5-star contract, I don't think he's going to be particularly great value in my opinion. And the last 5-star from Brazil, we've got Wanderson. We've got a creative playmaker. He can play on the left or the right. He does have a face scan. Again, we've got some decent attributes here. So he's quick. Kicking power's all right. Balance is decent. That's hitting 90 with the game plan boost. Good dribbling as well. That's going past 90 as well. Ball control and tight possession. They could be worse, but they're not brilliant. They're at least going past 80 with the game plan boost, but you'd want a bit more on a winger. Again, he's a creative playmaker. Comes down to whether that works for you. If it works for you, great. It could be a decent card. Personally, I find it frustrating. I do have some creative playmakers I play out wide. I mentioned that when we were looking at Di Maria earlier. It's not a disaster if I use a wing with that playing style. It's just not quite what I want. But yeah, low and lofted pass could be worse. Finishing not brilliant at 74. Let's see what skills he's got though. So a bunch of skill moves, soul control, and then end product wise, long range curl and through passing. So as a right footer, no crossing. I think he's definitely going to be best on the left. Cutting onto his right foot with the long range curls, and he's got through passing as well, so you can pick a pass with him. Don't ask too much with his passing, especially his shooting, because those attributes aren't particularly high, even with some skills to back them up. But with the pace, being quite good on the ball, certainly with the dribbling, even if the ball control and tight possession aren't terrible, I think there's an inverted winger coming off the left flank. It could be decent. I think, again, Brazilian League Challenge, I think it could be decent value for a 5-star contract. Not amazing, but decent. Because there aren't that many amazing options when you're picking a squad for the Brazilian League Challenge if you do get it. But if you don't get the Brazilian League Challenge, if you look at the divisions and so on, for a 5-star contract, again, we're not looking at 3s or 4s, and we're looking at 5s. And for a 5-star contract, is he good enough on the whole? I'm not sure. I don't think it's a terrible card, but I'd like a bit more on the ball control and tight possession. Attacking awareness, I'd like to be a bit higher as well. But wrong button. But yeah, on the whole, there are some qualities there. I think some people, if you like your kind of pacey, tricky wingers, he could be a decent one. He could be fun one to use. But there are a few attributes I'd like to be a bit higher. So for a 5-star contract, if you've got the contract to spare, if he suits you, could be a decent one. Just not an amazing one. But I think for a 5-star contract, most of us would probably would want a little bit more. So let's head now to Turkey, where we've got at least one 5-star. It's Amrabat. Yeah, just the one. So, is this a good version of Amrabat? Not particularly. So, there was a World Cup player of the week that was a 3-star. That wasn't as good as this. This is obviously a 5-star, but we've had one in I think a Legend or Showtime box. There's one in some kind of Man United pack, and one in a Fiorentina version when I was in I guess a Serie A pack of some kind. And all three of those trainable versions of Amrabat, in my opinion, they're a little bit better. Not a massive difference, but I think they all just edge this one slightly. So this isn't a brilliant version of him. And compared to his GP card, they've nerfed the defensive attributes a bit, but it's a bit better on the ball, a bit more attacking awareness and finishing. a bit more stamina and physical contact as well. So they have boosted him in a bunch of areas. I guess it might be one where you look at him and think, okay, if you've already got one version of him that's quite good, one of the ones I mentioned, you could use that and have that as set up as a more of a defensive Amrabat. Whereas this one, even though he's got the same position and playing style that he normally does, looks like they've built him to be a bit more of an all-rounder, a bit more capable of getting forward. But again, we're looking at a 5-star here. You're going to be redeeming a 5-star contract for this guy. How many contracts have you got to spare? And when you look at the other 5-star players, is this guy going to be one of the ones you're going to get the most value out of? He's not brilliant on the ball, even if they're boosting him a bit there. His passing is not great for a 5-star midfielder. Finishing, nah, not much of attacking awareness, even though they boosted it. Defensively, they've nerfed it a bit. He's not bad still, but could be better. It depends where you're using. Defensive mid could certainly be a bit better. Centre mid, I think that's fine. I think he's pretty strong defensively for a centre mid, to be fair. Down the right hand side, he's kind of all right, to be honest. I think everything down the right there. It's not the quickest, obviously, but he could be slower. Decent kicking power, some physical strength. They have boosted that, as I mentioned, from his GP card. Would like a bit more balance, but stamina's good enough. Skill-wise, what we got here. So, rising shot, long-range shooting, first-time shot. He must have scored a goal or two in the last month. One-touch pass, low lofted pass, but no through passing. That's a big miss on a midfielder of any kind. Drop back, interception, sliding, tackle, fighting spirit. So, on the whole, I think that's a pretty good selection of skills. It's just he's really missing through passing. So, on the whole, yeah. I think, again, it just comes down to a 5-star contract. For a 5-star contract, is he any good? For me, he's not great. I think there have been slightly better versions of Amrabat in the past, and I would want better passing, a bit more balance on him as a box-to-box. And if he was an out-and-out defensive midfielder, I think you'd want him to be a bit better defensively, which his GP card is. So, yeah, it's not a bad card. It's pretty solid all around. He's got a decent selection of skills, but he's lacking through passing, and a bunch of these attributes really need to be a bit higher, in my opinion, to be worth a 5-star contract. So not a terrible card. If you want a good version of Amrabat, then he could be a decent one to pick up, but just look at it in isolation as a centre midfielder or a defensive midfielder for a 5-star contract, for me, not brilliant. And let's finish up certainly with the Player of the Month packs, because we've got another pack to look at after this one with some 5-stars in. But surprisingly, this I think is the first time ever that we've had a J-League Player of the Month pack with 5 stars in it. I don't think we've ever had a 5-star card in a J-League Player of the Month pack. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, we've got 2 here. So let's start with Sekigawa. So Sekigawa is normally a build-up. They made him a destroyer. That's not brilliant news for me because I prefer build-up, but that's just personal preference. He's got a face scan, of course. Almost every player in the J-League seems to. We've had a couple of Player of the Month versions of Sekigawa in the past, but both of them are worse than this one. This one's definitely the best. There was a trainable one in one of those Showtime MVP packs, whatever you call them. Usual story, to be honest. They're a bit better defensively, but not so great on the right column. It's the same story with a lot of these trending Player of the Month and Player of the Week centre backs. But that was a trainable one though, and if you shuffle the stats around and try to match this, it's pretty similar, really. Pretty similar story. Compared to his GP card, again, same old story. You know, not that much really with the middle, but left and right columns had a bit of a boost on a bunch of those attributes. So yeah, decent boost on the whole for him. And as much as he's not amazing, again, for a 5-star contract, I do think he's all right looking. I think this is just one of those ones where, again, if you still get the J-League challenge, I think for a 5-star contract, this guy's going to be decent value. If you're looking at using it outside the J-League challenge, it's borderline for me. Down the left, he's pretty much par for the course for a centre-back. There's nothing particularly great there. Down the middle, fairly strong, to be honest. The awareness, tackling, aggression, all hitting 90 with the game plan boost. Engagement, not quite, but it's not far off, so he's pretty strong down the middle. Not the quickest, but he could be slower. I think you can certainly live with that pace. The jumping and physical contact, I would like to be a bit higher. They're not disastrously low, but he's 182 centimetres, so he's not the biggest centre-back. I'd like a bit more strength and a bit more, slightly more jumping on him as well. Stamina's good. Again, they keep boosting that on these trending centre-backs. He does have aerial superiority, so he won't be too bad in the air, but he won't be brilliant either. He's not going to be dominant, but he won't be too weak. Got heading as well. And then we got man marking, interception, blocker, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit, and then weighted pass as a bonus. So yeah, on the whole, a good selection of skills and quite a few decent attributes, certainly down the middle. And as for the rest, some I would like to be a bit high. You know, the jumping and the physical, I'd like a bit more pace on maybe, but I think he's okay. I think if you've got 5-star contracts to spare, yeah, I think you can do a lot worse. I think he's a very usable centre-back. For me personally, as I mentioned, I do like to rock a JD squad sometimes if I ever do divisions and stuff. And I do a Japanese squad as well, and the national team challenge when that pops up. So for me, I'm probably going to get this guy because there aren't many options for me out of the 5 stars this time around. But if you don't still get the J League challenge, you don't ever rock a J League squad, then he might not be great for you. But I think on the whole, might not be an amazing centre back. There might be a few attributes I'd like to be a bit higher, but even for a 5-star contract, not amazing. But I do think he's decent enough. I do think he's usable. So it just depends on your situation. But I think that's an okay centre back for a 5-star contract. And the last 5-star out of these Player of the Month packs is Wakizaka. This guy is one of the most consistent performers in the J League over the past couple of years. He's a really good player. Got a face scan, of course. They've added right midfield. He's normally semi-proficient right midfield, but they've made him fully proficient this time around. We've had a few versions of him. Actually, they've also made him semi-proficient right wing forward as well. So if you want to position training for right wing forward, you can. Oh no, wait, you can't do that because you can't position train these cards. Why do they keep doing that? But yeah, we've got right midfield added. And yeah, as I was just about to say, we've had a few versions of him. So there was an old Player of the Month card, which was really not great. It's quite a long time ago. This is much better than that one. And we've had 2 Player of the Season versions of Wakizaka. So there's one a couple of years back, which I've got both actually, which is a 4-star card. Obviously not as good as this one. It's a 5-star. And the most recent one, the end of last season, was a 5-star. I've got that one. I've actually position trained mine as a right winger and as an SS as well. And I really like mine. And it's a bit better than this one on the whole. Plus it's trainable. So this isn't quite the best version of Wakizaka, but it's a solid one to be fair. It's just, for me personally, it's a 5-star player. And when I look at this guy's attributes, I don't get it. I don't see a 5-star player here. You know, there are a lot of okay attributes. You know, the attacking awareness is decent, on the ball is all right, passing is all right, finishing is not brilliant. It could be worse, I guess. Pace, average, kicking power in the air, not particularly strong. Balance isn't brilliant. Pretty good stamina, not strong defensively. How is this a 5-star card? I don't see it. You know, I just don't see it. You know, the version I've got, I like. I've used him quite a bit. He's quite good, but he's a bit better than this one. And he is a 5-star card. And sure, this is a 5-star card, but I just don't see him as a 5-star card. I can't see it as a right midfielder. He's not got the pace. He's not brilliant on the ball. Is he a 5-star right winger? Absolutely not. I don't get it. Looking at him in the middle, centre midfield, I don't think he's strong enough defensively. If we look at the skills, nothing defensive there. So as a centre midfielder, not happening for me. As an attacking midfielder, he won't have an active playing style there. He will be an active box-to-box right mid and centre mid. I always say it's an interesting playing style on wingers. I've got a few box-to-box wide midfielders. I do quite like it, but yeah, like I say, I don't think he's quite got the attributes for it. But as an attacking midfielder without an active playing style, maybe that's where he's best. Attacking wingers will be hitting 80. On the ball, he's okay, not brilliant. Low and lofted passer, all right. Again, not brilliant. Finishing, not brilliant. I really don't think this guy looks great for a 5-star. He does have some decent skills, though. So, end product-wise, long-range curler, dipping shot. I would like to have a few more shooting skills on him because his finishing attribute is not brilliant at 74, but one-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, outside curler, low lofted pass. That's pretty much what he's about in real life. He's a very creative player, so he's got a lot of really good passing skills there. You've got double touch if you like to do a double touch now and then, but that's about it as far as doing skills and dribbling, captaincy. But yeah, he's really all about the passing. I think, to be honest, he deserves to have slightly better passing. If this is the player of the month version of Wakizaka, having watched him quite a bit, you've got to give him a bit more passing. Maybe make him a bit better on the ball. He's actually pretty tidy on the ball, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't think it's as good as it could and arguably should have been. And I don't see this as a 5-star card. So yes, he's got a pretty good session skills as a creative midfielder, and he could certainly do a job for you either in the middle or out wide. But I just don't think he's good enough to justify a 5-star contract. I don't think he's good enough on the ball or quick enough to play as a right winger. Even though he does have good crossing, he's got pinpoint crossing, 86 lofted, bit of curl, bit of kicking power. Crossing is probably his biggest strength, but for me, don't think he's quite got the pace. But that might be where he's best used, to be honest, as a kind of old school, you know, Beckham style winger where you're not relying on pace. You get him on the ball, whips and crosses in. Could be the best way to use him. But like I say, as an attacking midfielder, 84 not the best. Be careful not to ask too much from with his passing, but he's got the passing skills, and that could be worse on low pass. So you could get some use out of him as an attacking midfielder without an active playing style as well. But either way, on the right or through the middle, yes, it's a solid looking card, but for a 5-star contract, in my opinion, not great value really. So that's all the Player of the Month packs. And as for the 5 stars, we're now on to the last of the nominating contract packs, and that is Centerpiece. What does that even mean? Is that a positional thing because Grealish plays out wide? Mudryk plays out wide. What does centrepiece even mean? Are they the best players for their teams? No. Certainly some of them aren't. I don't know. Centrepiece, what are they on about? But yeah, anyway, we've got 6 5-star players in here, and for these ones, we're going to be jumping over to eFootball Hub. I'm going to check the skills on here first, because eFootball Hub's been playing up a bit in terms of listing skills accurately for players. So we'll start with Mudryk. So Mudryk, we've got roaming flank. He plays on the left, and that's it. You can position train these cards though. You could train him for the right or through the middle if you wanted to. And in terms of his skills, a few skill moves for the dribblers, long range curler, one touch pass, super sub. And there's my phone going off. Leave me alone. Yeah, a bit of everything there, really. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub, and we'll see how good he actually is. So, we'll get him fully trained up, fully boosted. What are we thinking? He's decent. He's rapid. Good balance. Quite good on the ball. There's the concern. He has no end product whatsoever. Yikes. So, as I mentioned with the skills, let's just quickly look back at the skills. Where are we? End product wise, long range curler, one touch pass, that's it. So, long range curler, yes, that's a good one. It's arguably the most important for a right footed left winger. A long range curler is a good one to have, but beyond that, one touch pass, okay, that's good, but where's through passing? I would like outside curler, heel trick, long range shooting, maybe his first time shot. He's a super sub, that's a good one to have, but yeah, end product is a big concern with Mudryk, this Mudryk. You compare him to other versions of him as well. We've had a few previous ones. There's one that was slightly better. I think that's from one of those legend boxes. Otherwise, he's pretty much par for the course for a Mudryk card, really. He's up there with the better ones. There was a previous nominating contract one, I think. I think it was a Golden Boys one, which it goes to about the same level, just a few stats kind of shuffled around. So if you've already got that one, you probably don't need to get this one, to be honest. I think that's a bit annoying if they've had him in the nominating contract up before. I'll prefer a bit of variety rather than giving us, repetition, but it is what it is. In terms of what they've done compared to his GP card, the biggest boost is on tight possession. And to be fair, he probably needs that because he is lacking behind his ball control and dribbling attributes, so that's good. Some of his attributes are the same on his GP card, certainly at level 1. The rest just kind of is a mix. Some of them up by just 1 or 2, some of them up by 3 or 4. It's a decent boost on the whole. And is eFootball playing up actually? Is it fixed? It might be fixed now. That looks about right. Oh, fair play. So yeah, there's long range curler, one touch pass, super sub. Yeah, so he's got some decent skills there. A few skill moves, a little bit of end product, but those attributes there not brilliant. In terms of whether you could retrain him, give him a bit more end product, you could knock a couple of dribbling. I'll leave the ball control at 90. You can nick one off dexterity actually. I don't know. I'll leave that attacking awareness at 80. I like that playing style, by the way, roaming flank. I often mention that. Good attacking awareness and roaming flank. He will be drifting inside and getting into some pretty good positions. Makes him difficult to mark for defenders. There's a point in defending there. I'll have that. Thank you very much. So we've got 10 points that we've freed up. Can we nick a bit of speed? I don't want to lose much kicking power, but I'm going to nick a couple of points there. So we're up to 12 now. So what do you want to do? You want to make him better at passing? You can make him half decent at passing there. Get him up to 76, 77. Or you can put all those points on shooting and do pretty much the same thing with his shooting. Get him up to 76 for finishing. So yeah, well, you could do a bit of both. So yeah, I'd probably do that personally. Still good on the ball, good attacking awareness, still rapid as hell, good balance as well. Just a little bit better with the passing and finishing. So you're going to need to put 1 or 2 skills on him if you get this guy. If you plan to use him regularly, through passing, I think it's probably the first I put on. Maybe a couple more shooting skills. Outside curler, heel trick maybe. But as a guy who's rapid and pretty good on the ball, especially as a super sub, he could be a useful one to have. But compared to other versions of Mudryk, nothing particularly excited about him. It's just another feature of Mudryk, really. So if he suits you and if you don't mind having to be careful with his end product when it comes to passing and shooting, with the strengths he's got, he could be pretty tidy on the ball. And it could be good value for a 5-star contract. But like I said, it depends if you've got a version of him already and how many contracts you've got. But he certainly could be worse than that. In terms of his other positions, just quickly, could you use him on the right? I mean, you can't really get his lofted pass that high. So even with pinpoint crossing, I don't think you can make him great at crossing. I think he's definitely better on the left than the right. So I wouldn't look to get him trained for the right. Likewise, attacking mid or SS, don't think you can make his passing good enough. Centre forward, I'll just ask eFootball Hub what it thinks about centre forward. No, I don't think you can get the awareness and finishing high enough. So yeah, this for me, as a left winger, pretty much par for the course for a feature of Mudryk. Nothing particularly exciting about it, but if you do want a good version of him, it could be a pretty tidy version of him to have. He's a decent card on the whole. Next up, we have Morgan Gibbs-White. Had a few versions of this guy. I've got one of them. He does have a face scan these days. It took him ages to get one. He's a whole player. He can play right through the middle. I've just had a quick look on eFootball Hub. The skills are almost accurate on there. So we're just going to jump straight over to eFootball Hub. And we'll get him fully trained up and boosted. So I'll start with the skills. As I say, the skills are pretty much accurate, but he doesn't have chop turn. So that's wrong. He doesn't have that. But outside of that, all the rest of the skills are accurate. I guess they're working on it. They're almost there. Got long range shooting. Got a heel trick. First time shot. One touch pass. So as always with Gibbs-White, what you need is through passing. That's the one skill he's lacking. But these cards can be trained. So if you're going to get this card and use it, you can give him through passing. Weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, outside curler, load off the pass. So he's all about the passing really. He's got a couple of shooting skills as well. Interception, nice. Nice bonus on Gibbs-White. You don't always get that on attacking players, but as a little bonus, certainly won't complain about that. He looks pretty decent on the whole, but there have been better versions of him though. If you look at previous versions, there's been a Player of the Season one from the Premier League. There's been a previous Player of the Week one. That's the one I've got. It's been really good for me. And there's one from some kind of Showtime or Legend box as well. All those a little bit better to be honest, which is a bit of a shame. Although the stats are shuffled around a bit, and this is a trainable card. But yeah, it's not the best version of Gibbs-White compared to his GP cards. It's a decent boost overall. Looking at all the attributes, nothing really stands out. I don't think they've really boosted any particular attributes much. Much more than anything else. It's just a decent boost across the board, really. And he's pretty tidy. And like I say, it's not the best version of him. But if you look at this card in isolation, I think he's pretty neat. I think as a centre midfielder, yes, he's got interception, but those defensive attributes are absolutely honking. There's no way I'd be putting him as centre midfield. I mean, sure, you could train him differently. I mean, even if we go with whatever eFootball Hub says, see, that's what eFootball Hub says is the best build for him as a centre midfielder. Cannot defend to save his life. So centre midfield for me is an absolute non-starter. But as an attacking midfielder, he looks alright. He's very nice in the ball. He's got decent passing. You do need to give him through passing. That's an absolute must. Good attacking awareness. Attacking awareness over 80 with the whole player playing style. That marries up very nicely. Pretty average pace and kicking power likewise. Decent balance though. He's got a little bit of physical strength about him. Stamina 82 on an attacking midfielder with the whole player playing style. That's low. He's going to get tired. Could you put a bit more speed on him? Yeah, you could. So there's quite a lot in his dribbling. You can nick a couple from there and still leave him 90 plus in all those three. That lets us put 3 at least on lower body. So he gets a bit more stamina that way, a bit more speed, and a bit more kicking power, of course. That could be worth doing. That could be what you want to do with this guy. Be nice to get that shooting up to the 80 mark though. Where can we knit something? We'll knit one from dexterity. Shove it on shooting. I think personally, I would probably just do that. I think that's probably what I'll be doing. It's a pretty even build, pretty even distribution of the points. Still very nice in the ball. We've not touched his passing. With through passing, I do think he needs that, but with through passing, decent pass on him. He got all the passing skills. If you give him through passing, that is. Finishing up to 80, attacking awareness 80. Not bad pace. He's not the quickest, but 83 and 83 is not too bad. Bit of kicking power about him. Decent balance, even if we just nick one from there. Yeah, on the whole, he looks pretty decent. I think as an attacking midfielder or an SS, all the strengths he's got, I think he could be pretty useful. As a centre forward, like with Mudryk, I don't think we're going to be able to get his awareness and finishing high enough. I mean, he's more suitable than Mudryk is, to be fair. He'll be trying to beef up his finishing a bit. Get one more on there. Yeah, as a centre forward, you could do that. Certainly could be usable. Very nice in the ball. And with his passing as well for a centre forward, but I'm not sure that's the best use of this guy. I think as an attacking midfielder on SS, whether you go auto allocation or the way I just tweaked him a moment ago, I think he's a pretty tidy card in those positions as a kind of number 10. So it's a pretty decent card, this, but like I say, the one downside with this Gibbs-White card, it's not the best version. We've had a few slightly better versions of him in the past, but if you don't have one of those and you want a good version of him, certainly if you're given through passing, I think it could be a decent card. Might be decent value for a 5-star contract for some people. And next up we have Jack Grealish. So Grealish, of course, he's got his face scan. Again, the skills look like they're pretty much accurate looking at eFootball Hub. I don't think there's anything wrong there, although they're saying he's got chop turn again, which he doesn't. But yeah, let's jump over to eFootball Hub. Let's see how good this Grealish card gets. So max level, fully boosted, pretty nice looking. So this is a decent version of Grealish. If you look at the previous versions of him, it's up there with the better versions of him, to be honest. This is a good Grealish card. He's not a massive boost from his GP card, but yeah, some of the attributes are kind of pretty much the same as his GP card really, or maybe just +1, but there are a bunch that have gone up a little bit. Looking at him at level 1, they put a few points on his finishing, his speed, his kicking power, physical contact. So yeah, on the whole, not a massive boost, but it is one of the better versions of Grealish. It's up there. It's one of the higher rated ones. Possibly the best version. I'm not certain on that, but he's up there with the highest rated ones for sure. And yeah, he looks alright. It's I think with the last time there was a Grealish card, I think I said similar. It's a question of where you want to use him, because wide left, is he quick enough? Maybe. 84 speed, not too bad, but it's not exactly electric pace. Let's just have a quick look at his skills. So, like I say, these skills do look accurate to me. Long range curler, important one, coming off that left flank. One touch pass, again, where's through passing? You need through passing, really. Certainly if you're playing with an attacking mid. So he's got some decent skills there. Really, it's a question of left flank or through the middle. If you're playing through the middle, absolutely needs through passing. That's crucial. But wide left, it's not as important. He does have a long range curler. It's just a question of what you want. If you want him to be great on the ball, I mean, he's great on the ball. He's got really good balance. He's got good acceleration. He's not got brilliant speed. End product wise, he's okay. Low pass is decent for a wide man. Lofted, not brilliant. Finishing, not brilliant. But as long as you don't ask too much, I think you can get away with that. I think the obvious thing with this guy is that unless you really just want to dribble and dribble and dribble, you can certainly free up some points from his on the ball attributes there and try and beef him up a little bit elsewhere. So, and again, we've got 1 on defending. I'll take that back straight away. That's 1 point for a start. But yeah, with the dribbling, I'm just going to go down to 7, and then we're still 90 plus in all of those. Just depends what works for you. Auto allocation might be fine for you, but I want either a bit more speed or a bit more end product. Ideally both, but let's give him a bit more product first. In fact, we just need 1 more on speed to give him that increase of 2. It's because before the game plan boost, once an attribute gets to 85, it goes up by 3 instead of 2. With the game plan boost, let's just scrimp a couple from passing. Boom. Yeah, that looks like a nice build to me. I think that would probably work as a more well-rounded build. So obviously not quite as good on the ball. They would nick a bunch of points from there, but speed up to 88 now on a wide man. I think that's worth doing. Still at 80 for low pass. We're not up to 80 for finishing now. Curls in the mid-80s as well. So with long range curler on the left flank with this guy, using his trickery, the fact he's got a bit more pace about him now, I think the dribblers might quite like this guy. I think that build is a more kind of well-rounded build. Could work quite well coming off the left flank. So yeah, like I say, this is one of the better versions of Grealish, and whether you go with the auto allocation or you do something like this, I think it could be pretty effective wide left. And again, though, creative playmaker might not be your preferred play style for a winger. It's not mine, but that playing style will be active attacking mid as well. So as an attacking mid creative playmaker, let's just do a slightly different build. So let's take a bit of the emphasis away from shooting and pace. Can we make him good enough at passing for attacking mid? Oh, we can. Interesting. Got 4 points left. Should we try and nudge his low pass to 90, or do we... what do we do? Let's put a bit more shooting on him. Yeah, so he could make him a pretty decent attacking mid, actually. That's quite interesting. So still getting quite tidy on the ball. Attacking rate's at 85. It's not what you really need in a creative playmaker, but it will help. Just will help them a bit in terms of making their, making movements into attacking areas, reacting to attacking situations. Low pass up to 88. I'd like it to be a bit higher, but I think 88 is okay. You will need through passing, as I mentioned before. Through passing can be super important on any attacking midfielder. But with the attributes and the fact he's got 1 touch pass already, weighted pass outside curl, if you gave him through passing, build him something like this, I think it could be a pretty interesting attacking midfielder, to be honest. So yeah, one of the better Jack Grealish cards that we've had. And I think depending how you train him, auto allocation could be fine for you. Certainly wide left. I think he needs through passing, especially through the middle, but depending how you train him and how you want to use him, wide left or through the middle, I think it's a good version of Grealish. If you're a fan of this guy, this could be a good one for you to pick up with one of your 5-star contracts. And next up we have Dani Parejo from Villarreal. So we've had a couple of versions of this guy in the past. We've had a bunch, to be honest. He's got a face scan, orchestrator, centre mid or defensive mid, unwavering form. Again, looking at the skills, it looks like eFootball Hub is pretty much up to speed on this. I don't see anything missing, anything erroneous there. It looks about right. So let's jump over to eFootball Hub. Let's see how good this Dani Parejo card is. So fully trained up. As you can see, it's one of these cards where it's all about the technicals, not got a great deal athletically. As I mentioned, there's been a few versions in the past, and there have been a couple that are better than this one. My version that I've got of this guy, I've got a version from, I think it's from a Spanish league pack. It's not only a bit better in terms of the attributes, but my version has left midfield, right midfield, and attacking midfield. which is an advantage. You can position train these cards, but it's an advantage that mine's got those positions right out of the box, and of course he is slightly better as well. But it's a similar kind of profile. Not a lot of speed. That's the main downside with Parejo. Not a lot of speed, but technically he is fantastic. So yeah, it's just a question of how you're going to use him. What's he going to be best at? Because as an orchestrator, certainly as a DMF, being physically weak and the fact he can't defend to save his life, and he doesn't have any defensive skills, I think you'd be insane to put him at DMF. But as a CMF with the orchestrator playing style active, as long as you've got at least one midfielder behind him who's going to do the defensive work as a deep line playmaker in that centre midfield position, I think he could be pretty decent. And the biggest strength he's got is pretty obvious. He's got insane passing, 99 low and 96 lofted. Yikes. This guy can certainly pass the ball, but yeah, the question is, where is he strong enough elsewhere? Do we need to scrimp a few points from there? I think it makes perfect sense to do that. So we've got 12 on passing. I mean, to be honest, the first thing I'll do, just to show you how good he can be as a DMF, because like I say, as a DMF, looking at the auto allocation, he's not strong enough defensively there. But if you ask the eFootball Hub what they say, he's actually not too bad defensively. And if you do take some points away from passing, let's just do a build then. Let's just see how good he could be defensively. Can you make him usable in that position? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I mean, if he did something like that, you could get away with it, but you would still need another midfielder down there, at least alongside him or behind him, doing a lot of the defensive work for him. But you could make him more suitable to that position. He could do a job for you, but yeah, like I say, needs a bit more stamina, needs a bit more physical strength. I'm not sure it's really worth doing that. I don't think you really get the most out of him by playing him that way. If you go back to the auto allocation at centre midfield, as a deep line playmaker there, with a little bit of defensive ability about him, but mainly the focus on his attacking ability, that's where he can be most effective. But what I'll do is I'll do a build where it's very attack minded, on the assumption you've got one or two midfielders behind him doing the defensive work, and this guy's just going to be playmaking. If you take those points off defending, and if you take a bunch off passing, what you see is you suddenly have 26 points to spare, and you can really beef him up in other areas and really get the most out of him where he's good, which is getting forward. So we'll just do what we're going to do. We'll do that, get his kicking power to 90. Give him some shooting ability as well. Shovel those on shooting. Let's just stick one more on dexterity, actually. Do something like that. So as a more attack-minded centre midfielder, as long as other midfielders are going to be there behind him, and Anchormen or destroyers or whatever, doing the defensive work, focusing on what this guy's good at. Yes, we've taken a bunch off his passing, but you can afford to do that. We made him a bit better athletically, a bit more attacking awareness as well. I think as an attack-minded centre mid, he could be very usable. The pace might put a lot of people off. I've tried the one I've got a few times. I'm not using him a great deal. The pace does put me off my one because he is a bit slow. You do notice that. But he is great on the ball with his passing as well. He's got a fantastic end product. As I mentioned, my version is better, but when I train mine up, mine does have attacking midfield, and that's where I've used mine primarily as an attacking midfielder. And it's a pretty similar build to this. With his end product, he's pretty effective. It's just that pace. So if you don't mind the lack of pace as either an attack-minded centre mid, or if you position train him as an attacking midfielder, I think that's probably where you're going to get the most value out of him. It could be very useful. It's just whether the profile suits you. If you like your attacking midfielders to be more nimble, a bit more pace about them, you like to dribble and skill, yeah, this guy's really not going to be your cup of tea. But if you're not so bothered about that, you like to play a kind of possession game. You mainly focus on passing and moving in those areas in centre midfield or attack midfield. If you train him for that with the ability he's got, it could be very effective. He's got plenty of end product, one touch pass, through passing, weight pass, crossing, low lofted, real playmaker this guy. So yeah, not going to suit everyone, the profile he's got, but if he does suit, he could be a useful one. But like I say, we have had a couple of better versions, which is a bit frustrating. But if you don't mind that, and if his profile does suit you for a 5-star contract, you could certainly get some value out of this guy if he's your cup of tea. Next is Matheus Cunha. So Matheus Cunha this time, deep line forward, centre forward. That's a weird looking face scan. I need to update that, poor guy. Unwavering form. Again, with the skills, I think he's just about right on eFootball Hub. I think they've got the correct skills on. I'm just checking before I go over there. Looks about right. Yeah. Right. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub then. So, how good is this Matheus Cunha card? It's pretty decent. It's a card where it just depends how you train him. As a centre forward, he kind of looks alright. awareness decent enough, very nice in the ball for centre forward. He's a deep line forward, so a deep line forward is obviously going to be dropping deep and getting involved in the build up a lot. He's not going to be very aggressive at all with his forward running. That for me is very frustrating. I do not like the playing style, but if it does work for you, if you pair him up with a goal poacher, for example, it can be effective. It just depends on if that playing style works for you. But I think he's got a decent profile for it because he's very nice in the ball for a centre forward. He does have through passing, so yeah, quite often you see deep line forwards where their profile, in terms of the attributes they've got, the strengths that they've got, don't really work for that playing style. I think this guy does work quite well for it. So if that's your kind of profile, that your kind of playing style, could be a tidy card for you to pick up. Comparing it to previous versions of him, there's one in a legend box which I got. That was the Romario, Denilson, Neymar box ages ago. Very similar. Not a great deal of difference, to be honest. And there have been a few player of the week cards of Cunha as well. So there's one that was an SS whole player. This one's a bit better than that one. If you train him for SS, and I'll just go to the auto allocations in SS now. So as you see there, if you train him like this as an SS or similar to this, he's better than that SS whole player of the week card, I think. And there have been a couple of others, whole player and creative playmaker attacking midfielders. So 2 attacking midfield versions in player of the week, 1 whole player, 1 creative playmaker. The stats are kind of shuffled around a bit, but on the whole, around about the same level. So, yeah, to be honest, it's a pretty decent version of Cunha. It looks like it's up there with the better ones, really. If you've not got a version of him, like I say, it comes down to the profile. Does his profile work for you? Both the positions he's got, that playing style will be active. So if the playing style doesn't work for you, I think that's going to kill it right off the bat. But you could position train him to play out wide. You look at the attributes he's got. He's certainly capable of playing out wide. There's a right footer playing on the left-hand side, cutting inside. He's got long-range curler. He's got a first-time shot. He's got 3 passes. There's a bunch of nice skills there. The version I've got, I'm pretty sure the version I've got is actually, he's got left wing and right wing. I'm pretty sure I've used him there. He does have the profile for it. He's decent there. So that is an option for you if you position training to play out wide. But through the middle, as an SS, I think it could be very, very interesting. Very nice in the ball there. He's got through passing. You might want to give him one-touch passes. Probably the one skill you'd want to put on him. But overall, pretty well suited to playing as an SS if you train him like this with the deep line forward playing style. And if you go back to the auto allocation as a centre forward, likewise, not amazing. I'd like the attacking awareness to hit 90. Likewise with finishing, I'd like a bit more on there. Maybe it's a bit more on passing if I'm going to be greedy, but I think on the whole, this is a pretty tidy looking card. I think it's just a question of whether, again, I keep using the word profile, but, the attributes he's got, the strengths he's got, if they work for you, either as a striker or an SS with that playing style, I think he's got good selection skills, he's got pretty good attributes, and he ranks pretty well against the previous versions of Cunha. It's one of the best versions we've had of him, so if it works for you, I think it could be a very decent card to pick up for a 5-star contract, but it's just a question of whether he suits you, and if he doesn't, then he won't be so great, but I think a lot of people could have some joy with this guy. It's a pretty decent card for me. And the last one in this pack is Kökçü from Benfica. So, he has a face scan, he's got unwavering form. Skills, again, just quickly checking on eFootball Hub. It looks like they're pretty accurate on there again. Yeah, all these skills I think are correct on the eFootball Hub. So let's just jump over to the hub. How good is this Kökçü card? It's pretty good. We've had a few versions of him. The best version we've had of him was in the fairly recent Turkey pack. I got that pack, so I've got that card. Very similar. It's pretty much on a par overall with that one. A few stats kind of shuffled around a bit here and there, but if you've got that card, you don't really need this one. If you've not, this is a good version of Kökçü. He's had a reasonable boost from his GP card. The biggest boost they've done really in terms of the attributes is his defensive awareness and his physical contact. So that does make him a bit more, a bit better suited to playing as a DMF or CMF. It's a similar situation to Parejo really. You've got a guy who's clearly got his main strengths in, getting on the ball and creating goals. But obviously position-wise and playing style-wise, it looks like he wants to play quite deep as a deep line playmaker. So how much defensive responsibility do you want to give him? He can't defend to save his life. Sure, he's at least in the 70s for 3 of these. He's got 81 aggression, but he's not strong defensively. You need at least one other midfielder behind him doing the defensive work. He's not physically strong either. So, yeah, if we ask eFootball Hub how to train him as a DMF, yeah, he could be worse, but are you going to scrimp more points from the left column or anywhere else to try and make him stronger defensively? I'm not sure. And with that tackling being 3 shy of 80, not for me. I don't think it's really worth, scrimping on what he's really good at to try and make him better suited to a role where he's still not going to be brilliant. I think for me, he's best either playing as a centre mid with a build similar to this. I would probably just nick a bunch of points off passing, beef up his area a bit, at least get him to 70 physical contact. And then a couple more on defending. What else would I do? Dexterity. I'll probably do something like that. As a deep line playmaker, if someone else is doing the defensive work for him, or at least most of it, could be pretty tidy. You look at the skills down here. He's got one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, low lofted pass. It's clearly all about passing and playmaking. He's got the skills. And with the attributes, I think he could be very effective as a deep line playmaker. But like with Parejo, I'd rather have other people doing the defensive work and then just let this guy focus on what he's good at, which is getting on the ball and creating goals for you. So I personally, and this is what I've done with my version of Kökçü, I'll take all the defensive stuff away and I'll just focus on making him better getting forward. Those remaining 12 points, where you want to put them? Would you put them on shooting? You could do that. You could put them all on dexterity, get his balance and acceleration both up to 90. Or his attacking range up to 78. You could give him more pace. There's a few ways you could swing it. You could make him better on the ball even. I think, to be honest, he needs a bit more shooting, so maybe doing shooting is best. But I like this guy. As I mentioned, I've got him from the Turkey pack. I had a previous version as well, which I had before that, and I quite like him. But for me personally, I've done the same thing that I've done with Parejo. I don't use him as a centre mid. His orchestrated playing style is active DMF and CMF, but you can play him as an attacking midfielder without an active playing style. That's where I've used my Kökçü. I've not used him that much, but when I have used him, that's where I've used him, and I've really liked him. He's tidy. I've done a build quite similar to this. I've not put any points on finishing because I use manual shooting. So what I've done on mine, he's not identical to this, but pretty, similar enough. Like I say, it's a very similar card, the one from the Turkey pack. I think that's pretty much what I've done on mine. I'm pretty sure I got the balance and acceleration up to 90 to get his attacking awareness up to 78 as well. Yeah, that's pretty much the build I've done on mine. And like I say, I've used my one primarily as an attacking midfielder. Good skills, especially with the passing. He's got long range shooting as well, soul control. And when I've used mine, he's been really nice. He feels comfortable on the ball. He's got a decent shot in him, I've found. I know I do use manual shooting, but if you do put a few points in his finishing, I reckon his shooting should be pretty decent. That kicking power at 90, you do notice that with shooting. Passing there, 90 with low and lofted with those passing skills. Tidy enough with the ball control. He's not going to be much of a dribbler, obviously, but you've got some really nice attributes here. I think, like I say, from experience and looking at this card here, seeing how similar it is to mine, I think you could have a very tidy attacking midfielder on your hands here. So, yeah, you could use him as an orchestrator, DMF, CMF, as long as you've got other players doing the defensive work for him, or at least most of it. And as a deep line playmaker, could be pretty tidy. It's a tidy card, this. But like I say, as an attacking midfielder, in my personal experience, my personal opinion, I think that's where you could get the best value out of him, even without an active playing style, which doesn't bother me. Could be very tidy there. He has been for me in the limited use that I've had of him. So yeah, centre midfielder, attacking midfielder, both ways could be a pretty tidy card. This, and it's about as good as there's been, in terms of the Kökçü cards that we've had on the game. So another one where if it suits you, could be decent value for a 5-star contract. So that's all the 5 stars, and to be honest, this time around, I'm not going to give you any recommendations because there aren't enough cards that really stand out to me as being great. There are a few in the Brazil pack which all of them look kind of okay, but not amazing. You've got Amrabat in Turkey, which again is not an amazing card for a 5-star contract. In Japan, I think Sekigawa is a solid centre-back. Out of all the Player of the Month 5-stars, I think Sekigawa is probably my pick. I think he's a solid enough centre-back, but he's still not an amazing one. And then Wakizaka, in my experience, I love the card that I've got of Wakizaka, but this one I just don't see it as being a 5-star card. And then these guys here, they're all good cards, to be honest. It just depends on what suits you. Do you like a deep line forward? Cunha could be a good one for you. If you don't, then you won't. And then with Parejo and Kökçü, do you want a deep line playmaker who's fantastic, getting on the ball, creating chances, but can't defend to save their lives? That's what they pretty much are. And depending on how you use them, they could be great. And in both cases, obviously, you'd have to position train Parejo, but as an attacking midfielder, in my experience, both these guys can be very effective getting forward. They're obviously getting forward and creating is their main strength. So for some people, both these guys could be good. Grealish, I think that's one of the better versions of Grealish that we've had. And I think if you like Grealish, if he suits you, it could be a really nice one to pick up. And then Gibbs-White, given through passing, he could be a really nice one as well. And then Mudryk, be careful with the end product. He is lacking there, but he's quick. He's going to be good in the ball. He could be a good one as well. So, yeah, not a lot to be had from the Player of the Month 5-stars, in my opinion. I think Sekigawa is a solid centre-back, though. And out of these, depends on their profile, their playing style. If they suit you, could be good ones. Otherwise, obviously not so much. For me personally, I'm not that bothered about Grealish. I've already got Kökçü that's as good as this one. I've already got a Cunha that's as good as this one. I've already got a Parejo that's better than that one. I've already got a Gibbs-White that's better than that one. And I don't really want Mudryk. So this pack for me is absolutely rubbish. But for you, all 6 could be good. I don't know, but I'm not going to recommend any because, like I say, none of them really stand out as being that great. But I think for most people, there should hopefully be at least 1 or 2 5-stars this time around that are half decent. And now it's time for your match pass mathematics. Brace yourself because my brain's about to implode. So, value 500 coins, premium 1,000 coins. There is a 50% off sale. So that takes 250 off the value, 500 off the premium. If it's your first time purchasing, you get another 50% off. So you get another 125 off the value if it's your first time purchasing that one. Or you get another 250 off the premium if it's your first time purchasing that one. It looks like we're back to the regular amount of coins that you get back now, because I've counted up from the rewards. You get 230 back from the value, and you get 340 back from the premium. That's if you play all the matches to get those rewards back. So, depending on whether it's your first time purchasing, yeah, I think basically if it's your first time purchasing either of these, all in all, if you play all the matches, you actually get paid to get the match pass, which isn't bad. Otherwise, you get a pretty hefty discount. The 50% off means you're paying 250 for it, getting 230 back. So you're really paying, is that 20 coins for that one? Not bad. And in this one, you'll be paying 500 coins with the sale, getting 340 back. So what's that, 160? So yeah, correct me if I'm wrong on any of those numbers, because I probably am. I'm not the brightest, but yeah, some pretty good value to be had this time around in terms of the price and getting these cards. But as I mentioned when I was doing my player of the week review and I did a quick summary of the update, I'm really disappointed they've not improved the rewards in Match Pass. I think they desperately need to improve them just in themselves. Just having a load of EXP and a few coins and then these tokens, it's just not really interesting to me. And the fact that the nominating contract tokens will just get you a bunch of players, which for most of us are useless because we don't get the league challenges. I just think it's pathetic, and the fact they've not done anything about it just shows that they don't really care about people who aren't just spinning the legend boxes every week and grinding divisions. But yeah, I won't rant any longer. It is what it is. But there you go, there's some numbers for you, and let's have a look at these two players now. We'll start with Zaccagni from the value match pass. So Mattia Zaccagni, fully trained and boosted, looks pretty decent, and by my reckoning this is the best version of him that we've had. We've had a few, we've had some player of the weeks, we've had some trainable versions, but this one to me looks like it's the best of the lot, and he looks like a tidy card. So good on the ball, good pace, pretty decent balance, just shy of 90, pretty good attacking awareness for a wide man, low enough to pass, just hitting the 80 mark, finishing just shy of it. He looks pretty solid. He doesn't look incredible, but this is a solid card, and like I say, it's a good version of Zaccagni. Looking at his skills here, a bunch of skill moves for the dribblers. And we've got acrobatic finishing, heel trick, through passing. Got a few nice ones there, but I think you probably need a few more. I think for a right footer playing on the left flank, long range curler again is probably the first one I look to put on. Cutting inside and hitting those curled finishes. I'll be putting long range curler on him. You might want to give him first time shot, long range shooting, one touch pass. Maybe he's outside curler, but I think long range curler is the first one I'd look to put on this guy. And if you give him that, I think just with pretty much this auto allocation, you're pretty sorted. I mean, you could probably nick one from dexterity there and just put that on finishing. And boom, got the finishing up to 80. One spare. Give him some strength, I guess. I think I'll probably just do that, to be honest. I think the passing and finishing will be at the 80 mark. Obviously not amazing, but for a wide man, I think that's fine. 90 plus on the ball, good attacking awareness, pace, a little bit of kicking power, decent balance. I think it's a tidy looking card, to be honest. As an attacking midfielder, we'll just ask eFootball Hub. How's he train up as an attacking mid? Not amazing. He's got through passing, but you'd need one touch pass on top of that. And I would like that passing attribute to be a bit higher. It looks like the only way to really achieve that would be to take some points away from dribbling, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, you could get his passing up to 86, but even then, I don't know. I think sure he could do a job there. I mean, to be honest, you don't need that much pace as an attacking mid. So let's just do that. Hang on, let's just do that. Yeah, just do that. Yeah, he could be decent then. Yeah, he could be decent. So I'll give him one touch pass, but as an attacking mid, yeah, good acceleration. They got up to the 90 mark. Still pretty tidy on the ball, even though we've taken a few points away. But we can get the low enough to pass to 88 at least. That is decent enough. So yeah, you could, if you wanted to use this guy as an attacking mid, could make him pretty decent there. I think probably best as a left winger though. Whether it's the auto allocation or whether you just do a sneaker one like me and just nudge his finishing up to 80. I think that's worth doing. And it's a tidy card. It's not amazing. It's not on the same level as a lot of the kind of legends and the real top cards, but considering the discounts on offer on the value match pass and how cheap it's going to work out to get him, I think if he's your kind of player, it could be well worth picking up. It's a decent card, this one. And your premium match pass player is Leroy Sané. So let's get him all trained up, maxed out. And of course the question is, how good is he? Pretty good. Again, you got another winger here and he's got great pace, great on the ball, and not quite as good with his passing as Zaccagni, but finishing is at 80, attacking wise at 80, good at set pieces. That's handy, decent balance. How does he compare, Zané, to previous versions? So we've had a few versions of him, and to be honest, he's up there with the better trainable ones. This is a good version of Zané. There have been a couple of Player of the Week ones though. The two Player of the Week ones, in my opinion, are slightly better on the whole. Obviously, the attributes get shuffled around a bit higher in some areas, a bit lower in some other areas. They're both whole players as well. One was an attacking midfielder as well. You can position this one to be an attacking midfielder if you want to, but can he get his passing high enough? Not sure. But yeah, the two Player of the Week cards for me, both slightly better than this, but certainly in terms of trainables, he's up there with the best versions of him. There was a recent free one we got with the big update when they gave us one with a booster slot along with Kane, I think it was, whoever it was. But yeah, this one's better than that one, slightly better. You can obviously put a booster on that card though, but this one for me, even if you factor in the booster, I think this is a slightly better card than that free one. One difference that is worth noting though, if you look at previous trainable versions of Sané, even the better ones, one noticeable difference is that this version of Sané isn't as good with his lofted pass. He is better with finishing though. It looks like they've basically taken a bunch of points from his lofted pass and they've put them onto finishing. So if you want a version of Sané to use as a left winger and put some crosses in, this is not the best version to have. But if you'd rather have a version of Sané, especially if you're going to play him on the right hand side, you're more concerned with finishing and you're not going to be putting many crosses in, this could be a great version to have. So that's something to keep in mind there. If we look at his skills, so again, he's much better suited to the right than the left. My version of Sané that I've got one of the better ones. I've used mine mainly as a left winger, but I use him as a right winger sometimes as well. I've given mine crossing because he doesn't have crossing. What he does have, long range curler, long range shooting, dipping shot, first time shot, one touch pass, outside curler. He looks great to be playing on the right wing as a left footer, cutting inside onto his left foot. He's got decent finishing, he's got great kicking power, he's got fantastic curl as well. So long range shooting and long range curler really coming into play when you're playing with an inverted winger coming off that right flank as a prolific winger. This is a nice looking card, this. I would like a little bit more balance, but that's probably being a bit greedy. Likewise, a bit more passing, but I think as he is, to be honest, I don't think I'll change much. I think I'll probably just leave him as he is. You could scrimp a few from maybe, I think the most likely area to scrimp a few points to try and make him a bit better elsewhere would be maybe speed, but then you don't want to lose stamina because his stamina sucks. That's something to keep in mind. He does get tired, Sané. I use mine primarily as a super sub. Otherwise, it'd probably be dribbling, but do you want to go below 90 on tight possession? I think most people wouldn't, but if you did want to, you could probably take 4 off there. Still 90 plus ball control and dribbling. If you stack all of those in passing, you can almost get to 80 on low pass, not quite. We've got 1 point in defending there. Hello. And now we're just 1 point shy. Damn it, that's frustrating. I'll just leave that there, put another one on shooting. But yeah, you can beef up his passing. If you wanted to give him a bit more in product, we all know passing is terrible in this game, so it's good to kind of cover yourself as best you can with the passing. So you could do that. But likewise, for me personally, I think I'd probably suggest you just stick with the auto allocation and just be careful with your passing and focus on what he's good at, because 97 dribbling, great pace, and that kicking power, the finishing, the curl, long range curler, long range shooting. I think as a right winger cutting inside onto his left foot, like I say, it's one of the better versions of Sané when you look at the stats, and the fact that at some point in time, whether it's just for this card or whether it's just the way they changed his GP card now, but comparing it to most of the previous versions, we've lost the points of lofted pass and they've gone to finishing. If you want him as an old school winger left wing, that's bad news for you. But if you want to go play him on the right, I think that's great news. You'll be very happy. So yeah, like I say, you might be, if you want him to be putting cross into the box, then this might not be the version for you. But if you want to put him on the right hand side especially, you want to use him as a prolific winger cutting inside into his left foot and use him that way, I think this could be a very, very nice version of Sané for you. And you might be very pleased to pick this guy up. And like I say, with all the numbers, the discount, the 50% discount and everything, it could, yeah, could end up being a very cheap card to pick up and one that could be very effective for you. So yeah, I like the look of this card, to be honest. I don't really need it because I've got a good version already, but if I didn't already have a good version, I would definitely be picking this card up. I think it's a good one, this, even for a premium match pass. So there you go. There's all your new nominating contract players and the match pass players. I think if I'm honest, there are some half decent ones in there. I think certainly with the 3 stars and 4 stars, they've at least put a few decent ones in there that I do think give us good value. But it's just the issue that I mean, some of us don't get any of these league challenges. Some of us get some of them. Depends where you are. If you're in Turkey, you still get the Turkish league challenge. If you're in Japan, you still get the J League challenge. For some of us, you don't get any, including me. I don't get any of these league challenges. So for me, that's the killer. Some cards in there give you decent value, but what value are you going to get out of them if you don't have any modes to use them in? It's absolutely pathetic. But it just feels like there's no point in even ranting, even if the entire player base is complaining every day. They still don't seem to listen. So I won't rant any longer about it. But as for the 5 stars, obviously it's not just about the league challenges with the 5 stars. You can use the 5 stars in divisions and so on. And I think there are some decent ones in there. But as I mentioned when I was looking at the whatever it's called, centerpiece pack, whatever it is, there's none in there for me really in there. So for some people it might be the same. You might find it disappointing. But if you don't have good versions of some of the 5-star cards, there are some good ones in there. It just depends what suits you. So I think it's an all right selection on the whole. It's just the whole league challenge situation that kind of spoils it all for me to a great extent. And it just means that I've got no interest in getting match pass, even if it's cheap, because there's not much point for me. But there we are. I do think there are some decent cards for 3, 4, and 5 stars, to be honest. So I don't want to sound too negative. I think the selections overall are okay. So hopefully you found this useful. Do let me know what you think, which of these players you think are good, which ones you're going to be picking up. And thank you for watching. As always, I do really appreciate it. Hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully I'll be doing a live stream soon. I keep saying that, but I really will. I promise. So yeah, keep your eyes on the Discord and the community tab. Cheers for watching. Enjoy your weekends, and I'll see you soon.